doesn't get anything from that level 6.
Nautilus versus Karma, especially when you're playing Ignite Nautilus, level 6 super important. Might see some action. Luckily for H2K side, there is the Shen that can always absorb the first all-in. But we can also talk a little bit about something we brought up in the pregame, which is what kind of styles these teams have been experimenting with, especially on the side of G2. We've seen them slow down a lot. And I've actually been speaking to quite a few members from G2, notably Mythy, on this, and asking them, why are you not going for these trades right here? Showing him just footage of the game. It's like, you know what? We could go for a massive lane read right here, but it involves a little risky play. We're trying to play a very clean game, focused on objectives, and if we get lane leads, they want to use lane leads to get a team lead. Whereas previously, they would use lane leads to get even more lane leads and then just kind of snowball on their opponents. G2 right now, they want to become more refined, and everything is in goal of the team. So they want to play very objective-focused and team-oriented gameplay, which obviously means you play a little bit more secure and a little bit more passive in the early game.
Maybe looking towards the future, wanting to be, a better team than just the best team in Europe, looking to compete at an international level as it has vexed them so much in the past.
And that's where the whole theory from that game style comes from, is that because on the international stage, you will not be able to generate any lane leads versus these players. Like, you can't expect to kill Bang and Wolf in lane to get your lane lead and then translate that into a map lead, right? The way you need to beat these teams is with smart lane assignments, win your wave control, and then eventually try and get the objectives.
But to not take objectives, not to take trades that would give you an advantage, to not take those advantages doesn't, is that even a reliable strategy?
They're not sandbagging, so that's maybe like phrasing it wrong. There's always an implied risk in an all-in. If you have a 70% play, sure, if you're a struggling team, you should take that. 70% odds is good. If you're G2, and if you play consistently slow and you have a 90% chance of winning, why would you take a 70% play? It's more of that rationale that goes to it. Obviously, versus H2K, it's going to be a lot harder.
Yeah, because Expect's getting taken down. Flash forward, first blood for Ottowamne. I didn't even expect to see it. I thought for sure there's no way it would happen, but Odo knows this matchup like the back of the hand. It is so quick to punish Expect.
What a cornerstone for H2K. Ottowamne comes out. Honestly, wins the war of attrition. This was not a flashy kill out of nowhere where he gets taunted on a turret. This is simply just laning prowess from Ottowamne, willing to leave the Camille open, give it to G2's weakest player, and he starts winning. And that begs the question to that she's level 1. Was it worth it for Expect to swing that lane in the early game if he's going to end up dying 1v1 to Ottowamne?
And was that even the deciding moment, or would have Odo found that advantage anyways? Expect just maybe a bigger weak point than G2 had expected, because now that Camille's behind, there goes the 1v1 potential for at least another couple minutes until she completes some major items.
Yeah. And G2 definitely running a 4-1 comp. Yes, you could put Orianna on a side lane, but she's not a side lane split pusher, especially not with Kled's flash. So this will hurt G2's mid-game plan very hard. So this is the point to strike if you're H2K. You already want to target the weakest member, but you most definitely want to do so in a pick where it guarantees you side lane control later on. If you snowball, Camille will still win the side lane control later on.
Absolutely.
Because Camille is a fun champion.
Yeah, very fun. Lots of jumps, lots of damage. Lots of damage. Of course, Expect fine for now. Trick there to back him up. G2 realizing that they may need to give a little extra help on the top side.
Yeah, but no rotations coming out. No bot lane swings to top lane here. H2K sieging again. And look, Ottowamne is ready with Stand United. He now hit level 11. Even bigger shield comes out. You saw the pings go out from H2K. They're setting up the pathway vision in the enemy jungle as well. Febiven was considering roaming down to the bot lane and forcing kind of the turret siege right there.
Now moving forward, Febiven very comfortable in this laning phase. Of course, both these champions very strong in late game scenarios, but for now, Febiven starting to come out on top in terms of these trades. Already has the Nashor's Tooth, working on a second item as well.
And this is one of the few games where Febiven is falling behind, because in terms of CSD at 10, which is CS differential, he's been the best one so far. Really, I think he had a 7 or 8 CSD at 10, which means he was far above the second one, just farming really well and putting pressure in his lane. Perks was quite average, around 2 or 3 CS up on average, but the fact that Perks is snowballing this hard, well, snowballing. The fact that Perks has a CS lead over Febiven kind of bucks that trend, especially since H2K had the later pick.
Interesting that H2K gave so much up for this, but we're going to have to hold that because Mythy getting engaged on Snare goes in. Fortunately, the ult goes wide from Nuclear, and that means H2K, while looking to press that advantage like we wanted to see, are not able to find the opening.
Continuously showing up in his bot lane here for Jankos. The first brush been pink warded to make sure that he can just kind of slide into that lane. They really want to surprise, and then now they can leverage the push because they can't get to the turret. H2K considering Dragon, but then backing off again. A lot of tension in this game.
Oh, Odoamne goes in, has the true damage, wall dive, hook shot comes back out. Don't know if he's going to find the 1v1 because Spirit's Refuge just blocks so much of that damage, and bonus from Ivern, and red buff for the Shen top lane, just making it so much harder.
Yeah, and if you can make these fights last really long, you can definitely make use of the Sunfire Cape here, but right now Trick's coming.
Going in, Odo baited into the 1v1, he wanted it one more time, but Trick there to break up the duel to make the advantage for G2.
Yeah, really good opening. Odo on a little bit overzealous right there. Gets put in the barbecue, no escape whatsoever. H2K now looking to race to get at least first turret gold. They have a lead, so they should be able to get it here.
Finally breaking the bot lane open will net them a small gold advantage for now, but G2 are going to swing it right back with a tower of their own.
And this is both drafts kind of working as expected. Barring the minor misstep that Expect made earlier, this lane is expected to win in top lane, especially with the gank. And obviously, Varus and Karma are expected to push in the bot lane, so nothing really strange has happened so far in this game.
Nothing insane either. Of course, we can see H2K, they got first tower, now they're on their way to get first dragon. And we've seen very clean early games coming out from them in the most part. Of course, they're giving up a little here against G2, but still coming out relatively even overall.
The only game up to this point where H2K have given up the first turret is a game where they were forced to start Arcane Shift on Ezreal in a bad matchup already, and they got pushed in by Vitality. Vitality punished them, but other than that, their early game objective control has been very impressive. And that's exactly the style that G2 has been willing to play lately, so it's going to be very interesting how this evolves. This kind of low kill pressure environment where people are just really tunneling on objectives.
See, we just came off of a series where everyone was dying constantly. I think we saw, it's going to take it like 3 hours to get the amount of kills at this rate that it took from the single games of Unicorns of Love. I mean, it's admirable, of course, to see both teams play so cleanly, to look just for the guaranteed openings, to not look for those 50-50 plays or take any kind of risks.
Every objective has been cleaned off the bottom side of the map here for H2K, but they still sent their bot lane here. Just putting up the vision. Che doing it as careful as he can. Obviously doesn't have his jungler around right here.
Camille. Of course, have to respect it. Has a lot of kill pressure on anyone if they're left alone. Maybe not on the Shen in a 1v1 situation, unless you buy enough time for Rumble to make his way up there, but otherwise looking pretty strong overall.
Yeah, but you gotta be careful. If you're G2 Esports, you can't make a play on the bottom side of the map because the Shen can teleport, and Jin obviously does not have a teleport. That would be a very unfortunate 4v5. Now Sven roaming to mid lane here. And they're kind of struggling, because nobody really wants to play on the side lane. If you're in the mid game right now and you're G2, you'd rather be mid with your AD carry. That is a traditional spot for Jin to play, and he's so good at it. It's still okay for him to be at the side lane because it's relatively early on, but later on, you'll see them group mid more often. G2 is actually the team that picks up the most farm from 15 minutes to 30 on the map, so they really make use of all these 3 lanes, but with this composition, it'll be a lot harder for them to do that efficiently. They may start losing side lane CS because of their composition.
I mean, we do see so many picks to support that as well for Perkz. We see the Rise, the LeBlanc, the Echo coming out. So often it's Perkz who is free to push in a side lane, but now we see that issue that you brought up. Orianna, Jin, both of them want to occupy the mid lane. They both feel safe there, and someone's going to have to take the risk and go to a side lane to clear the waves. And for now, it's been the Jin. Ooh, not really what they wanted from that ultimate there. Engage comes in onto Jankos. That's so much in terms of shielding. Curtain Call, not going to do a ton of damage. The shield stop everything, and H2K turn it around with ease.
Yeah, good punish here from H2K. There was hesitation on the engage from G2. You saw it lingering right there. Perkz decides to pull the trigger, misses, then the equalizer comes out, and Mythy still goes in. He gets turned upside down around, smashed by Jankos here, and really great ultimate from Odoamne. So far, H2K looking very composed, and they fend off attack number 1.
Managed to get Fevin a kill as well, exactly where they want to be. But of course, I mean, kind of surprising to see this fumble, but at the same time, you brought this up in Champions, like the support pool is so slim. What is G2 going to opt for?
Look at this hesitation. Perkz could have pulled the trigger already there. He would have had him. He would have nailed Fevin with that because he came out of Fog of War. The fact that he hesitates I mean, Strick's follow-up is essentially rendered useless, and then the Shen just comes in, and that's the power of this comp. If you don't kill him immediately, you have Karma, Ivern, and Shen to protect you.
Now I'm curious how this will affect Perks. Notoriously a player with nerves, notoriously a player with a rivalry with Fevivin as well, and it cannot feel good to make mistakes like that. Hopefully can keep a cool head as he has improved, but is now getting collapsed on by the entire H2K lineup.
Yeah. Both teams trying to make picks around this mid lane brush right here. Siege set in motion from H2K. Ooh.
Good shield from Perks to save the day on that one, but it's just getting harder. TP's going in. Mithy's on the backside all alone. Shay's trying to dish out damage. Fevivin waiting for soldiers. Flash out, and goes the Camille. Emperor's Divide pushes her out, stops the ultimate. No ultimatum there coming in, but it will be the Vars running for his life. Sven goes in. He's looking to make it a party. Expect is hungry for blood. Shay's on the other side of the wall. Blast Cone comes out. One bullet. He's ticking down. It's going to be curtains for H2K. That's the double. Looking for the triple, and he's not going to find it yet. But in the meantime, another one drops on the backside.
This was a beautiful punish from G2 because it looked so even. It looked like everybody could just kind of walk around. H2K could set up the siege, but because G2 was tracking cooldowns perfectly, they noticed, oh wow, no teleport, no stand united. They just forced the most classic, simple 5v4 by hard engaging with their support and teleporting in their top laner from out of range, and that allows Sven to clear up super well in this fight. This is a really great punish. Sven, so happy that he could do this exactly this time. Look at his build. Now has Youmuu's Edge of Night finished.
So good to see, of course. This is the start where Perks gets caught out.
Yeah, and this is H2K over chasing. They do it every single game. They need to back out here, disengage. They take the greedy route to go in. Shockwave punish from Perks right here. And look, at any point, they should have just disengaged already, but Mithy sneaks in the back. This is really well played by Mithy. He's essentially stalling a fight for Expect to come in. Flashes out at the very last moment. It's quite unfortunate that Expect actually gets disengaged here. But even with that in mind, look how easy it is for G2 to kind of at least snowball in control. They have a very comfortable chase here. They even misplayed a heal from Zen on the Expect. Really great snipe here. On the bottom lane, Odom is watching his team like, guys,
I have nothing.
Did I not tell you? I have 2 globals. They're both on cooldown. Please, back off once.
H2K, I mean, we've criticized them so much. You brought it up. They like to get aggressive. They take these greedy fights, and they're being punished for it now.
And it's so hard to consistently play a league, and that's what we kind of needed to shift the mindset from. Teams will make mistakes. Like, we can't expect perfect games anymore. The thing is, how will they let them affect themselves? Will they tilt or not? And can they just then still look to punish the other team's mistakes?
And I brought it up in Perks. Playing a lot more clean than that fight, but that fight was not about him. It was about Mithy buying time, Trick with a nearly flawless equalizer, and Sven at the end of the day, the aggressive flash, building the advantage for G2.
Another group situation here. H2K is strong in numbers.
Equalizer's up, he is going to get it down. Chase on the backside. That's a nice combo there coming in.
But it's all on the support here. H2K is still pretty healthy, and they have Shen ultimate available for them. Again, in numbers, when H2K can decide whether they take the fight or not, they should be very strong. With the poke from Varus, the siege from Azir, and Daisy zoning in the front.
Azir, Ivern coming in as well. Such an insane siege tool when you can give him a brush to set up. But Daisy taken off the board means G2 buy themselves a bit of a reprieve.
Yeah, both teams are playing control teamfight comps with one side laner that wants to split push. It can be on the Shen respectively. But there's slightly more control coming out from H2K, I feel. And a bit more kind of shotgun from G2. They really want to go in like one combo, one shockwave, equalizer, Mithy's ultimate coming out. That's what they want to do. Whereas H2K, I think they want to take longer fights. You know, Azir ramps up so well in the late game team fights. Varus, yes, he has his ulti to CC, but it's more kite focused. Karma as well. So repetitive shields coming out. So that's the kind of the contrast. But in essence, both teams want to look for a team fight.
See, if H2K positioned perfectly, if they play patiently, it feels like they have the edge. But all it takes is everybody on the side of G2 to push those R buttons once when H2K misstep, and it could be a one-team fight in their favor. Probably brought it up last week, wants to play difficult compositions, hard compositions to execute. Well, this is certainly not a forgiving composition on the side of H2K.
Yeah, we can definitely tell that they're struggling a little bit in the CS department. On the map, like the numbers don't really reflect it that well, but I feel G2 is a bit more proactive and sending their AD characters side lane to push out, whereas H2K so far has been catching the side lanes. It's obviously very hard for Nuclear in this position with no vision. Look how he's pathing back and forwards. He essentially has to wait for his support, whereas Sven just now was so confident pushing out a bit more. So it's really hard, and these are the things that are so underrated, you know, when people can read the map and know when to safely push out or not, because now he technically would want to push out another wave right here, but he's not quite sure if he can, or they have to start walking and grouping mid again here, so this is a bit of a delay on the map for H2K. They have started a slow push though.
There was a small moment of hesitation that cost G2 the previous team fight, and now it's consistent hesitation from Nuclear that's costing a bit of a CS advantage, and it means that G2, on top of everything else, they may not have the Dragon lead to Oceans for H2K, but they do have the Gold lead, that 2K in their favor. It's not going to be everything 25 minutes in, but it is important. And with Gerald Buff making it easy for Expect to go in. Has to be careful on the all-in, though.
But he has more sustain out. He wants to sustain DPS as Camille scales, obviously. He wants to take down Odoamne over time.
Expect pulling away, getting the attack speed steroid, and moving in onto the tower, but it looks like a collapse onto the bottom side. Yango's not going to commit anything else, and G2 are going to back off. But Perks and Sven, once again, buddying up in the mid lane. G2, no clear sign as to where they need to go next.
Both teams kind of just pathing around, looking for a weakness somewhere. Somebody stepping out of bounds. That could be a great setup. Just as a single poke off Sven there. It could be enough of a pressure point that you're going to punch through.
Nice sidestep. Trying to clear the wave. It looks like maybe hoping to catch a few members out, but it is going to stop the siege coming in from H2K. The lethal poke of Varus and Azir.
Yeah, Odoamne back to full health right now. There's almost no vision in this Baron area, and it's Ivern. Even if there is some vision, you can put that Baron in the brush.
Have to be careful though, because once again, if you group up, if you group yourself like that, G2 can take advantage, but they've forfeited all vision control around this Baron.
But look at top wave. This is what we were talking about earlier, where Nuclear was hesitant to push out an extra wave. Well, he's still dealing with that. That wave was still stacking to this point, and that shows you kind of how important side lane control can be, because this is a topic we visited on a minute and a half ago, and it's still in effect. And look now, somebody can just sweep top and pick up all his farms. Sven, he essentially spent maybe 25 seconds in the top lane to get 3 times the amount of farm that Nuclear did. Because he's controlling the waves, he's just picking up the big waves, and then he's being protected, and actually he's now being allowed, hopefully, to push out the next wave.
And when you're so dead even in the mid game, as we get even approach the late game at this point, 27 minutes in, those things make massive differences. This is the difference between the finished IE and the unfinished.
But Sven's not sure. He doesn't know if he can go top or not, because his team was like, do you need help mid? So you saw him path mid. The wave is gone for 30 seconds, then he can go top lane. So you can actually see what these guys are talking about. If you follow the mini-map movements, he pathed into river, watched mid lane, saw that Perks was fine clearing it on his own, then he can go top and fix that wave, kind of. And now it's a slow push for G2 on the top side that can eventually put pressure on the tier 2 in the top lane.
Good news for G2 is they have a lot of wave clear when they're safe to approach that wave.
He might want to try and find Nuclear as he goes for that wave right here. That's why Sven is hiding in a brush. He's essentially playing a side lane assassin on Jit.
See if it happens.
Right, he wants to react to path to mid here, so they're using that information to then path mid. Looks like G2 wants to force a fight here with the Edge of Night channel.
Telegraphed very heavily though, as he was spotted on ward, so H2K now backing off, knowing Varus isn't there yet. Do have global advantage. There comes the combo. Curtain call, equalizer. No one gonna fall quite yet. Nice pull in. Jankos not gonna get taken down. Redemption gonna heal him right back up, and this might be the re-engage trick. Now in trouble. Jankos on the front lines. He's gonna deliver Odoamne, but into the hands of no one. No, the flash taunt, the cleanse out. He is safe. Tower destroyed in the meantime.
And look what unlocks. Bot lane turret falls. And this is a play that starts in the top lane with the wave control back and forth. We need to see what it falls mid though before we touch back on that.
To hold our horses. Devvent and Nuclear ready to take this down, ready to poke out the members. There's some decently low health bars. Edge of Night up again for Sven, not popped quite yet.
And this is why League of Legends, even despite having few kills, can be very exciting, because you see the implied pressure around that top lane control. Who picks up that side lane when you draft a non-1v1 comp? You see the hesitation on the side of Nuclear, and how Sven's playing around that. His positioning was really good. He was always pushing out that wave, catching it when it was stacked up. Then he was hiding there, considering an engage with Nuclear to pick him off. But instead he actually pathed the mid, and G2 as a team, you can see that was a planned engage. Because at the Scuttle Crab, Sven was already popping Edge of Night. Like, he was ready for a fight to happen in the next kind of 10 to 12 seconds, hoping that he wouldn't get picked off on his way back. They force Odoamne to react from bottom lane to mid lane. Guess what falls open as the spoils of war? The bot lane turret.
So good to see. I mean, H2K hungry for that re-engage, but G2 pulling off. We thought maybe they'd overextend, but Trick, manages to make it out in the end, and that's just advantage to G2, and it's steadily growing. Almost 3K now in their favor.
But the games are so slow, because this was an iteration of map moves over multiple minutes. They got you maybe, what, 1,000 extra gold? Because both teams are playing pretty concise. and risk-averse as well.
It's interesting to see how this match was developed, because last summer, it would have been G2 finding the early leads to snowball, and it would have been H2K in a bit of a chokehold in the mid-game macro, but now both teams playing a bit here on even keel.
Now, we do want some action, so I wouldn't mind it if they just start flat-out fighting here. It'd be exciting too.
To be fair, Prawley did say he wants a series where they fight a lot. He also asked that Febivent and Perks don't all in each other.
He'll be right here. I'm hearing Go-Go in the studio.
Sven starting the alt Camille on the backside. That's a nice combo. Febby knocked up, but there's so much healing. Double, triple redemption coming in. I don't even know whose is whose, but Febivent is full health. Expect is hungry for a kill here. Emperor's Divine not going to happen. Expect flashes over the taunt. He wants a little bit more. Expect taking down Febivent, but it's not enough. G2 now forced to back. The health bar is a bit too high from H2K. Both teams debating on the re-engage.
Absolutely brutal how Nuclear stayed alive somehow in that fight. He got so many shield and a redemption came out. Two of them actually on him, so that's the problem solved. And then the third one from mid, he came out somewhere as well. What a fight. The fact that that only resulted in a 1-for-1 is actually, I don't know if it's sad or hilarious or a mix in between.
I'm a little sad, but I feel like all the people who appreciate clean team fighting will maybe enjoy that one.
Alright, so mid lane turret fell. H2K then got the push. They're going to punish G2's base by trading for an Infernal. So, in essence, this is staying so even here. I don't even know what you prefer. G2 open up the map, which means they can push in further in the mid lane. They can really use that peak potential from having Sven just open up an ulti to start a fight. But H2K, they get the scaling with that Infernal.
So good to have it too. They only have 2 damage threats on this team, 3 if you're going to count Daisy. But always good to have the additional AD, the additional AP, especially on Azir. Already has the multiplier with attack speed. Happy to have the additional AP boost as well. Definitely something G2 could have used. They have 4 characters who would have benefited from that.
Well, look at this start. Let's start this fight again here. Really good double flank here. Mithy, I think, is going to flash over the wall. So there's a lock up into the equalizer with the Camille ulti. You would expect this to be a clean teamfight victory here. Odoamne holding his ulti long enough to then save Expect. With multiple shield goes up. Febivent actually takes a long time to die here as well. And then they eventually peel off Expect. While Daisy was 1v3 the backline zoning. It was just, yeah, it's just stupid how this composition works in terms of kiting.
It's interesting too to see the kind of the shift from Prawley. The major difference in this composition. He called the easy mode Shen Ivern scaling comp. Maybe it's a little more hard mode now that there's an Azir in there, but he was quite critical of it last week and now pulling it out here.
That's another kiting tool they have at their dispense here, H2K. Because if they can ever survive the first kind of wave of bullets from G2, if G2 do everything like the equalizer and the shockwave and H2K survive, their composition is so strong in terms of kiting. They just need to walk backwards, send out the Varus ultimate, Karma speed ups, Shen can be thrown in the mix. With Daisy, that's a super tanky front line, and then the double redemption, double shield can come out. That's exactly what H2K want to do, so that's why it's imperative for G2 to be really decisive and on the money when it comes to engaging.
Cannot afford to make a mistake. I mean, once again, the shotgun shell, you get one shot, it might hit a lot of places, it might do a lot of damage.
Yeah, well, you take it, we let it slip.
On the other side, H2K, death by 1,000 cuts, it seems, as the teamfights are doomed to continue to extend. No engage coming in quite yet. But Sven, once again, alone on the top side, pushing out the wave, sees multiple members in the mid lane, and knows he can push that out.
Yeah, but there's always that little pressure in the top lane. That seems to be lacking from H2K. In that sense, I think it's going to be the key contributor factor for why G2 is winning this game. Also, it is still Camille.
Tons of damage there. Saw that the taunt was burned earlier from Odo, knows that he's safe to go in for a little bit of aggro, has the lifesteal as well. I mean, there's no damage on that champion.
Yeah, it's going to be so hard for now for Odo to hold. You see, he got the early kill, he got equalized out, literally, and then now he is losing the late game push. He obviously has double global, but there's not enough time for H2K to force a scenario to get both Expect and Shen in there, then back out, and then use the second global again. So his double global power is essentially useless as long as Camille keeps pushing Odoamne in.
I don't think it gets any easier from here. Armor penetration maybe soon to come out, maybe more tanky stats as well, but the time of Shen dominating this matchup is soon to kind of fall away. You can already see it going in the favor of Expect. H2K now moving around the Baron Pit, but G2 have absolute control of this area. I don't think they can even afford to face check into this G2 lineup.
No, they're looking to do the typical red side defense with Varus. And Karma poking over, placing wards just to get a brief, momentary lapse of vision. When you place that one ward over, yes, you'll get disabled, but at least you get information for 1 or 2 seconds. Of
course, Mythy tried to body block Karma Q, did not expect the Mantra, did end up aggroing the Baron and taking a decent amount of damage, but nothing major as H2K have no follow-up here quite yet.
But again, G2's macro game is still slightly better than H2K because they are continuously playing on these few lanes, and that's why they're getting the gold advantages. H2K is, again, more objective focused, so it's kind of continuing on the story that we've been telling about both these teams. H2K pick up 3 dragons here, they picked up the first turret. They're slightly behind right now because of the mini wave pressure that G2 is generating by farming on all these lanes all the time, because somebody will always have to deal with a big wave that Sven kind of builds. Now Nuclear is moving more towards the top side to do exactly that, but he was not doing that in the past. He was playing much farther back. So that is good that H2K is solving that, putting the necessary vision, mostly in Tribrush.
And I mean, good to see them adapting on the fly as well. We don't expect players to shift habits or tendencies mid-game. Nuclear.
I mean, it's not a tendency that this guy doesn't like side lane farm, it's just that there wasn't the vision for him to do so. It's a team mission to send somebody on a side lane and have it pushed out. And then it obviously depends on how much risk you're willing to take. Like right now, Sven isn't too happy to push out that lane unless he sees 4 people on the map except Karma. Now he will push. Look, he was holding it. It's like, okay, do I get ganked? No, I see a Azir, Varus, and Ivern mid. I don't see Karma, but I don't think Karma can 1v1 me right now, so he can push. Look how far he's pushing up.
Oh, that's a good engage,
yeah.
Shotgun.
It's actually not the engage, it's disengage. They're holding the wave to set up for the rotation for top lane. Because that's what G2 is playing. They're playing the map, not the players. They're basically saying, I see 2 of your carries and a Shen in the bot lane. So two of your carries mid lane, Shen bot. That means I can just safety push mid lane. The only thing I need to do is make sure that I don't lose my mid lane turret.
G2 are playing the map. What advantages is it gaining them? They are free to clear out the pit now. They have pressure in their lanes. And Oda potentially in trouble. All comes out from Expect. Wants to keep committing on this one, waiting on the equalizer from Trick, but he's overheated himself. Isn't going to be able to fire it out in the end. I think a bit of a miscommunication there.
Yeah. A little bit silence right there. In the end, Expect still gets a good trade. He does lose his ultimate, so that could be